Hey you guys, I decided I was going to do something a little different today, so bear with me, and I apologize. It's much windier outside than I thought, so there may be a little interference with the sound due to the wind, but I decided I was going to take a field trip, I guess you could say. I decided to bring you to this place, which is a very special place to me. And before I begin, I would like to clear our space, just cleanse it of any negativity that may be lingering around us. And due to the fact that we're outside and it is very windy, I won't be using an incense today, and I won't be using a spray. I'm just gonna flick a white handkerchief. It's something that my grandmother used to do to cleanse her surroundings of negative energy. And I guess you could say it's kind of a quick fix. It's something you can do anywhere at any time, and it's just so simple and it's effective. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna flick this handkerchief, which was hers, by the way. And, sometimes I may say, negativity, flee from me. Negativity, leave me be. And sometimes I may say nothing at all. It just depends. And like I always tell you guys, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. There's your way, there's my way, and it's our way. So I just wanted to cleanse the area really quickly of any negativity. But nature is so cleansing, and we are outside, and it is very windy, and the wind element of air can also be used as a way to cleanse. And I'm not even going to get into that because, like I always tell you, I'm so easily sidetracked. And I wanted to kind of give you a little background on this place. And I think what I'll do is I may just walk and talk because, there's some things I would like to show you, but I still want us to have a discussion. And far as a theme, to be honest with you guys, I don't really have a particular theme. I had a theme in mind, but like I always do, I went to the goddess for guidance before I began, and I explained to her that I was indecisive. I couldn't decide. And she basically showed me that, why do I have to have a theme? If I want to talk about more than one thing, talk about it. Because that's the whole purpose of this channel, is to share and to learn and to grow. And, that's what I'm here for. And, so be it. So today it's going to be an open discussion, and I'm going to lift my camera up off the stand, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of this area and go ahead and give you a brief background on it. As you can see, try to get in the shade. This is like an area of woods, and if any of you know me, I love the woods. I've always had a very, very deep love of the woods since I was a young girl. And that's what drew me here. Actually, 7, 8 years ago, roughly, I was working at this particular place, and I'd had a really long day. And when I got off work, I decided I was going to come out here to this area of woods because I had came out here quite a few times before, and when I left I would always feel much better. Well, long story short, I came that particular evening, and I was in the woods, and I heard what I thought were footsteps. So I got really quiet, and before too long, a mama deer, a doe, and a baby deer came up on me. And I just sat there, I was silent. I was, froze. And I remembered I had a honey bun in my little bag that I had with me. So ever so slowly, I reached in there and I pulled the honey bun out and I tore it into pieces and I threw it out there to the deer. And the baby deer, he picked up the first piece and he took a few steps to the mom and she kind of sniffed it over, and I guess she let him know it was okay, so he ate it. And then finally she went and got a few pieces and she ate it. And I sat there and watched them, for, it felt like a really long time, but I'm sure it was probably like 10 or 15 minutes. But I sat there and I watched them and they ate. And when they got through eating, they, came a few steps closer to me. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't have any more, you guys. And then they, what I thought were, leaving. And they went to the edge of the woods and they stopped. And they turned around and they looked at me. And then they took a few more steps and they stopped. And that went on for a few minutes. So I eventually got up and I followed them. And where they led me to, whether it was intentionally or unintentionally, was they led me to this cemetery here. And what I did was, I was in the woods and there's paths out through these woods. And I came up through the paths, and just so happens the path that I ended up on led me to the cemetery. And I started coming out here, frequently. And, I have no family out here. I've never been to this cemetery before that day. But like I said, that was 7 or 8 years ago. And I always find myself coming back. I have found one particular grave that I've kind of acquired an attachment to, and there's a lady that's laid the rest there, and just out of privacy, I'm just going to tell you her first name is Lillian. I know nothing about her. I know none of her family. I just happened to stumble across her grave, and it's a very, very old grave. It's from the late 1800s, and I started going there. I started meditating there. I'll do energy work there. I will bring her flowers. Sometimes I'll just sit there silently. Sometimes I'll talk to her like we're old friends. And, I have left her gifts because she allows me to visit her grave. And when I leave there, I always have a sense of comfort, peace. If there was something bothering me that particular day, when I leave, it's like I've had a release. I always feel better. And like I said, occasionally I bring her flowers because it's a really old grave. I don't even think she has any living relatives left, but she has me, and I do bring flowers. I leave gifts. The wind's really getting up, you guys. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I'm gonna keep going. And I'll go ahead and just kind of dive into our discussion. What I more or less decided to talk with you guys about was reflection. And I guess you know why I chose that topic, because of the location here. I come out here not as much as I used to, but I still come a great deal. And when I come out here, I guess that's what I'm coming for. I'm coming to meditate. I'm coming to reflect on everything that has happened that day, that week, that month. It could be even, more long-term than that. It could be, I'm reflecting on my life in general. And, I think that's part of our way to evolve, and if I'm correct, when you evolve, what you're doing is you're changing, and you're changing due to what you've learned. And you can evolve in a positive manner, and you can evolve in a negative manner. That's, with anything in life that you do, you can always choose your path. And, you may not know where you're going, you may not know where you're going to end up, but you know what particular type of path that you're going to take. You may be lost as far as how you're going to get there, where you're going, but you always have in your mind, in your heart, what type of vibe that you're on, what type of energy that you're putting out there, that you're taking in. And, it's up to you. I know that things are beyond, our control sometimes, but at the end of the day, if we have no control over anything at all, we have control over ourselves. Maybe not control over, money all the time, or jobs, or like with this virus going on, there's a lot of things that we have no control over. But we do have control over us, over our heart, over our mind frame. And when I say that, what I mean is your mind frame. That is exactly what I call it, a mind frame. A frame, a picture frame. It's made up of, a particular material. It could be wood, it can be plastic, it can be glass, it can be, some kind of plexiglass, it could just be, nothing there at all, just a frame. But you choose what type of frame you're going to put that picture in. And just like with your mind frame, you might not know the circumstances, but at that moment in time what type of frame of mind you're in. Are you feeling lost? Are you feeling positive? Are you feeling content? Are you feeling anger? You know exactly what you're feeling. And that in itself is what makes up your mind frame. And like I said, you don't have control over everything, but you have control over your mind. You have control over your heart. So, if you stay positive, if you keep believing, if you have faith, everything will work out. It may not work out the way we wanted it to. It may not work out the way we expected it to. But you better believe it's going to work out, and it is what it is. And, I think that is part of evolving. And, everything that comes along with that, that is what makes us who we are. That's how we become who we are. And, I'm 40 some years old and I'm still evolving. I still wake up some mornings and I feel like I'm lost. I don't know which way I'm meant to go. I feel like, I don't know what my calling is. I don't know what my purpose is. And, some days when I feel like that, I'll just mope around and I'll call myself a crybaby because I'm literally, on the verge of tears. And sometimes I am, crying because I feel hopeless. I feel lost. I don't know. And I don't like that feeling. I like to be in control. I like to know what is ahead of me. And, I guess you could say I'm predictable. I prefer everything to stay in order. I prefer everything to stay on a schedule. I like to do the same thing at the same time every day. I'm not big for change, but I will embrace it. And that's like with this place here. It was something new to me. I didn't understand while I was here, why did I find this place? And, I just kept wondering why? And I do that. I'll do that to myself, and sometimes I'll get to the point where I literally make myself sick, wondering why. But sometimes there's just no reason. And, we'll sit and, we'll reflect on things. And we can't figure out why. We don't see the bigger picture, and that's life. Sometimes there's going to be no reason for something. Sometimes we're not going to have the answers. But, that's okay because that's life. And, that's why when I came here today and I was trying to figure out what theme I wanted to go with, and I was just, I was sitting here and I was reflecting, and it dawned on me. I said, I always come here to reflect. I always come here to meditate, to think. Sometimes I have no reason to come here other than I'm just drawn to come here. And, I was thinking, there's been a lot that has went on this week in my life, and some things that I have dealt with this week wasn't even things that happened to me, but rather happened to someone close to me. But this person, I'm just so very close to them, and when they are experiencing something, whether it's negative or positive, I experience it, and I think that's due to our connection. And I think that has a lot to do with the way I have been feeling this week. And then, last night I had a moment, and it was like everything that went on yesterday, I couldn't understand why I was having to deal with all of these things that were negative. Everything that I had to deal with yesterday was something that upset me in some way, shape, or form. And, I think that's a lot to do with why I was, called to come here today. And with the video, with everything that I had going on in my life, with everything I had, going on in my friend's life. And I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm saying all of this to say that, we're just going to have to accept that we have no control over every single thing in our life. We're going to sit and we're going to reflect on things that have occurred and that we're dealing with. And that's just part of who we are as humans, and reflect. And that's part of us evolving, And even if we sit and we think and we wonder and we try to figure it all out, and we come up empty-handed with no results, with no answer whatsoever, we're still evolving because we actually sat there. We opened our eyes. We saw the bigger picture. We took everything into consideration. We tried to figure it out, and that is what evolving consists of, is, you've got to learn, you've got to grow, you're going to make mistakes. And just like, when you're a child and your mom or your dad, your grandma tells you, when you fall down, just get up and dust yourself off and keep going. That applies to your life as an adult as well. You may not have physically fell down and skinned your knee. It may be more that it's a spiritual fall or an emotional fall, but it's still a fall. And if you just lay there and cry and wallow in your, unhappiness and your pain, what is that going to accomplish? Nothing. It's only going to make you feel that much worse. You're not going to evolve. You're not going to learn anything. And therefore, you're not going to make any change. Nothing's going to change. It's going to stay the same. And I think that's what the theme of the video really should be, is, reflecting on life and, doing so to evolve, because that is how we become who we are. That is what we have to do in order to be the best us that we can be. We have to evolve. And, like I just said, if nothing never changes, you know, what is the point of all of this? And you know, you guys, I know it seems more like I've just kind of rambled on, and I guess basically I have, but sometimes, you know, just talking it out helps. And maybe this video is more about me trying to figure my issues out, but I just hope something I said today here resonated with someone out there. And as always, if you believe, you will receive. And I'll talk to you guys later. Much love. Bye.